Let us begin with the prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Loving God, turn my eyes to the other, that I may see each as you see me, with an innate dignity that transcends appearances, circumstance, class, and all earthly status, which are temporary. Help me to see the other as your beloved child, eternally.
Turn my ears to the other, that I may hear their cries as you heard mine, with a compassion and tenderness that draws me closer in the midst of suffering. Help me to hear the other as your beloved child, eternally.
Turn my mind to the other, that I may come to understand them as you understand me, struggling to find meaning and wholeness in a world that's fragmented, and your light in a world that's dimmed. Help me to understand the other as your beloved child, eternally.
Turn my feet to the other, that I may approach them across the gaps that divide us. Gaps too often widened by illusions of family, tribe, creed, race, even otherness itself. Help me to approach the other as your beloved child, eternally.
Turn my hands to the other, that I may serve them as you serve me, with a touch that cleanses, that heals, that feeds, and that reassures. Help me to serve the other as your beloved child, eternally.
Turn my heart to the other, that I may love them as you love me, steadfast, forgiving, ever merciful, with patience, seeing my joy in theirs. Help me to love the other as your beloved child, eternally.
Loving God, turn my life to the other, that I may live in solidarity with them and with you forever. Amen.
And now I'd like to introduce Aziz. He is an interpreter for World Relief Quad Cities, which is an agency that is currently working to place many refugees from Afghanistan. He himself is from Afghanistan. I had a chance to speak with him a little bit earlier this week, and he's joining us from Southern California. And I will turn it over to you, Aziz. Welcome. And we're glad to have you with us.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank from everyone to invite me to this event. And my name is Aziz Ahmad Aziz. I'm from Afghanistan, south of Afghanistan, Kandahar province. 5 years ago, November 16, 2016, I came from Afghanistan. I was working with the U.S. Army for 12 years in Afghanistan, Kandahar province. To all those Americans who helped me and my family, thanks so much. Saved my family in my lives, thanks so much. And who the Army in Afghanistan protect my family and help me, thanks from those also. So like I say, to all of the people here in the United States and back in Afghanistan when I was working with them, meet them, the greatest people and the people who helped me, especially the family that the most helped me to the United States. The family was David Greenleaf, my direct supervisor in Afghanistan. His family in the beginning, 2016, November 16, 2016, when I and my family landed in Chicago, O'Hare Airport, his and his son, David Greenleaf and Matt Greenleaf, were in the airport and they picked up us and brought her to their home. I lived in my family in his home for about 2 weeks. And then by the help of that family, they found me a house. They found me a work relief agency to help me for my rent, for my everything in the beginning, what I needed. So the people of the United States and the greatest people that I traveled to so many countries. So the people of the United States, I received so much from them, which I didn't see in the other countries. So that's where I always talking to the people and from my Afghanistan people, the people that Afghanistan, that I was in Afghanistan, and I was explaining them that we as a people has to appreciate it, the United States that 20 years ago entered to Afghanistan, and what we have now back in then, what I'm talking about back in then, I say what we have now in Afghanistan, that's because of the United States and the government of the United States, they give us. I remember when I was a child, we don't have a school. My father went to jail 20 years ago, 3 times, because he was teaching the children, girls and boys, in his home every night from my neighbors to give them education. But the Taliban's, now that they are right now in the power, they took them because why you're teaching them? Because they don't want the people to be educated. So anyhow, when we came to the United States 5 years ago, World Relief helped so much with all of the paperworks that we need to do it, which I never done it, and all of the benefits that we in the beginning needed to get it. They help us finding a job for me, and all of the materials that we needed in the beginning, they help us. So what I am right now in the position, it is because the first David Greenleaf family in World Relief, and generally all of the Americans that they help me. So you, I mean, just to continue, or you guys have another, I mean, a question or something? So
Tell us a little bit about your position and what you're doing now with World Relief.
yes, right now, what my lifestyle is, yes, I am well established on my feet, because the World Relief in the programs, they help me. I have a small business right now in California, which is a trucking business. In the meantime, what I do is helping the World Relief, as they helped me 5 years ago to do a translation or interpretation for the new Afghan that are coming to Afghanistan. And in the beginning, last month, when they contact me and it says, hey, Aziz, we haven't talked to you for a while. Is there a way if you can do the translation for the new Afghan that they're coming to Quad Cities, Muli, and we need the interpretation? When they told me that, I was like so surprised, and I was like already ready to do it. I say, of course, not a problem, because this is how we need to be as a human. Because in the beginning, the big transition that for me and my wife was made it from Afghanistan to the United States. You guys helped me, David Greenleaf family helped me, in general Americans. So now is my time to pay back. Yes, I told him, yes, of course, I would do that. And I would not have any problem. So which I'm doing every day. Every day they send me a schedule, and through the phone, through the Zoom, and all the other stuff, we are going and do the interpretation and helping the Afghan. And the other thing is giving a training to every family, culture training, how to be live in America. It's a big thing. Somebody came from another part of the world to United States. It's it's a big culture shock, and the people, they needs to know, I mean, what's the rule and regulation is, and that's what I'm doing right now. And I explain them. I say to every family, I say, 5 years ago when I came here, I came with $0. Trust me, because I was in a terrible situation. I lost my family members because of working with Americans, and so I came in like I just like escaped from the country. So I didn't even pick up my stuff with me. It was a terrible days that they just say, "Hey, you need to leave the country," 5 years ago, because I was going to get attacked, my whole family. So yes, I left the country and I came here with nothing. But now I say, to the family, what I explaining to them, the new Afghan that they're coming, I say, now I have everything. I have, like, I live in this country for 30 years. So as we heard before, that America is the land of opportunity. Yes, it is. But I say, it depends on the person, what the person needs to be, what the person wants to be. I say, here is a way for education. Doesn't matter what age is that or what age you are. There is a possibility, there is a way that you can do it. So if you go do the education and select your goal for the future, you would be one of me. Like right now, I have the skill of my English, interpretation, computer, and I got another skill, which is my trucking industry, which is great. And I'm getting a lot from. I say, now, look at my family, my wife. When she came to the United States, because first, my wife does not have any education, because when she was a girl, there was no school in Afghanistan. The schools were closed. There was a war. And she didn't even know in her language how to write, how to read. So she was super worried. She was super like, what I have to do when I go to the United States. I say, well, I can't tell you what, but let's see it. Let's try it. Right now, my wife is driving. In my whole family is the first woman that is driving. My cousins, nobody. My wife is now writing in English. My wife is now speaking in English. And my wife is now looking for a job, a part-time job to work. And I say, this is how you can progress in America, and there is a way. So, but I saw, and I give him a good example. There is more Afghan that in the beginning, they didn't choose the right way. They're struggling. Their families are in a bad situation. And I say, it depends on you. What do you want? If you want to be a good person, be the good person, and there is too many doors waiting for you to be open, to be knocked, and to answer you. And I explain to my children also all the way, every time, every single day. And I say, my son, when we came to Afghanistan, I mean the United States, my son was 9 years old. He remembered Afghanistan. He remembered the day that 12 o'clock, the Taliban knocked the door and gave him a threat letter because of me. He remembered the day when he was in school and he received information that his mom and his little sister, which is my wife and my daughter, were under attack. The Taliban were inside the house and they were looking to kill his sister, his mom, and his father, in the whole family. And I explained to him, I say, son, You remember these days? You remember these moments? He says, yes, Dad. And I say, son, you remember that who helped us to come to the United States and to have a better life? He says, in the first David Greenleaf family, in generally all the United States people. And I say, what do you want to be in this country? He says, Dad, I want to be a good person to protect this country, to protect the people of Americans, to help the people of Americans. And seriously, a month ago, me and him was chatting. It was too late at night. And he says, Dad, I'm thinking about what I have to do in the future for the people of Americans to pay back what they did to us. And I say, the only thing, just do it, be a good person and help them, your neighbors, whatever the states, whatever the city you live, respect them. And always remember where you come from. And always remember, what do you have? That's because of the God in the help of Americans. And he's always telling me that Dad, I want to wait for that day to come to help the people that need the help. 2016, November 16, when we came to the United States, we didn't know nothing. And we were living in Monmouth, Illinois, the great small town. In that town, the whole community decided that in the Christmas, 2016 Christmas, all the gift has to go to Aziz's family, which I didn't know that. And one day, a door knocked. Two pickup trucks full of gifts and stuff came into the house, and they deliver and put it in my living room. I have the picture with me, and every time I'm showing that picture as an example to my family, because I don't want them to forget. And I say, remember, we don't have a space in our dining or living room to where to put these gifts. And I told him, look at, that's what the humanity is. That's what we have to be as a human. We in my family are Muslim. And I tell my children, my wife, and even to myself, religion is something personal. What do you want to be to get close to God? You can get close to God, be as a Muslim, be as a Christian, be as a Catholic, whatever, all the religion. Or be a good person, get close to God. But, and I tell my kids, I say, remember, I mean, my family, my kids, everybody, I say, remember, your grandmother, my mom, and my two sisters were killed 2007 because of the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. They came into a house because I was in a high position. I mean, I was really in a high position. They want me to get rid of Aziz so the Americans army eyes can close, because I was in the first guy to do all the stuff. I was advising them. But, and I said, remember, they killed your grandmother and your two aunts. Who killed? The people. They call, we are the Muslims. They call, we are the Afghans. And I say, look at, who give you the life? Yes, God gave us the life, but who gave you the opportunity to be in a better life, to be in a better school and education? And who brought you all these gifts? 2016 Christmas, before 1 or 2 days before Christmas starting, who brought you the 2 trucks load of gifts? We don't have a space to keep them. All the toys, all the stuff. He says, Americans. And I say, there you go. So don't worry about it. If you have your classmates. He's a Muslim, he's a Christian or another religion. He is a human. Respect them and teach them, the people in your school, which they are the actual Americans, tell them who you guys are. Sometime when you raise and grow in a society, in one society, one country, you don't see the good stuff. Then somebody came from another part of the world to see that and tell them that you guys are the great people. You guys has too much. You guys has a big hurt. And explain your story. And he did one. He got rewards for that. He is right now in 10th grade. He did it in 8th grade in middle school. And so all this stuff, and I say, what you guys are now is God help us, but who make the opportunity for us to get it is Americans. And I say, don't look at some people. I saw some people in my where I live. I saw some people. I saw some Afghans. They came 30 years ago. And I say, don't be that kind of person. They don't appreciate nothing. 30 years ago, they came from my country. They don't have nothing. They have now a lot of things, and they still don't appreciate it. I say, don't be the people like that, and be the real people. And don't forget what you were and now who you are and who helped you. So there is a lot, like I say, in my wife. Sometime when me and she sit, the day when she was facing that they came into their house, she grabbed her daughter. My daughter right now is 7. I hope one day I came to, with my family, came to Quad Cities, at least some of the people can see my family. That time my daughter was 7 months old. Now she is 7 years old. She says she always scared. She always, when she remembered that day, she start panic. She starts shaking. She says, Aziz, I remember 1 o'clock when they exploded our main gate of my house. The only thing I know, my daughter was in a deep sleep, and I grab her and I run into the bunker and lock the door. She says, every time when I remember that, every time when I remember that moment, that day, it says, Aziz, my love become more stronger for this country and more stronger for this people in this country. Because what happened if I couldn't made it to the bunker that day? Now my daughter and I wouldn't be here. 5 or 6 years ago, we would be already dead. So as I say, Americans in America has a big place in my family hurts. And I really don't have the word how to thank them, but I'm trying to pay them back. I don't see that way what they did it to me, because they did it so much. So again, it is a great country, great people living here, and people who don't appreciate it, or they're complaining from their life or from whatever, they need to talk to me, and then I would talk to them. Because in Afghanistan, before and now, our parents were worried about to get a lunch, to get a breakfast. When they get a breakfast, they were worried about to get a lunch. When they get a lunch, they were worried about to get a dinner. The people, they don't know shoes, fancy shoes. The people, they don't know the fancy pants and shirts and all these other stuff. And that's what a good, perfect example is for my children. And that's what I appreciated my children till now. They are listening and they are going what I'm explaining to them. And I say, the perfect example, I said, look at your cousin back in Afghanistan, in Kandahar. They don't have a shoes to wear. They don't have a proper clothes to wear because they worry about the food. And now you have everything. And you have, and now like I say, my son, uh, I mean, he's young. I don't blame him. My two daughters, the same way. They already have like 3 pair of shoes. And today, this morning, my son called me. I was in an emergency. He says, Dad, what time you're coming to take me to buy me another pair of shoes? I say, wow, what happened to the other pairs? Well, I need another pair, which I love with this one. And I say, well, I don't have a problem. I will buy you. But please, when you're spending that money with your shoes, take that money and help the needed people, the people who really need the money to feed their family. It's even here in this country or outside of the country in Afghanistan. So see, this is the difference that my children is worried about, to have 5 or 6 pair of shoes. The children in another part of the world, I mean, specifically in Afghanistan, because I came from that country, they were about the food. They were about their parents. 2 days ago, my father called me. One of my neighbor sold his young daughter to somebody who couldn't feed them. And he says, I sold it. I mean, give it to somebody that he can feed it, because when I was see her hunger, I couldn't see her to be hunger. It's for me better to away from me. At least she has something. And this is what the situation. And I explained to my son this morning. I say, son, I will come this afternoon and take you to and buy your shoes. But if you really, really need it, yeah, of course. But if not, please take that money to help somebody. They really need it. So all right now, where my wife and my 3 kids are, this is because of Americans. And we really appreciate them. They help us too much. Like I say again, I don't have the word how to thank them.
Thank you so much, Aziz, for sharing. I think we're all just blown away by your story, and so moved by your openness to share. And we are so appreciative of your time. Would you be willing to take a question or two from anyone?
Exactly. I have a time, sir.
Okay, great. Let's take a question or two, and then we'll move on with the rest of our programming this afternoon.
Okay.
Anybody can jump in.
Hi, Z. This is Deacon Steve Bard from Holy Family in Davenport. Just curious about when you left the country. It sounds like you had to leave immediately. That you knew that the Taliban was looking for you, was coming to get you, and that you had to get out. Did the military get you out of the country, or how did that? Was there a difficult process to get through that, or kind of how did that go about?
Good question. Thank you so much for asking the question. It was 30 minutes decision. 30 minutes decision. Leave the country. Sleeping in my house. 1 o'clock in the morning. I receive a call. Major Hurton. He's living right now in Washington State. Aziz, 30 minutes. We are arriving to your home, and get out and let's go. I was deep sleep. I say, excuse me, sir, I couldn't understand. He says, 30 minutes, we are coming, get you, let's go. And I say, can you explain me a little bit? He says, I don't have a time. People are on the way attacking your house. Let's go. Trust me, I was in my pajama. My wife was in her pajama. My 3 children were in their pajama. We grabbed them. And the army came. We get into their call, lock the door. We left the country. Came to the US Army base. From there, came to Dubai, came to Chicago. Yes, 30 minutes decision, sir. It was hard. Like I say, I was making so much good money over there. I had a big family. My father is a US allied politician. That's where I was 19 years old. literally graduated from high school, my father had a meeting with one of the colonel, that was she. And I was sitting with my dad, and my dad says, you graduated from high school. I want to see your English. Okay. So I did a little bit translation, and she was so interested. The next meeting, she just highly requested from my dad if Aziz can work with us, because we know you, you're working with us from a long time. You're our allied politician. So you're a trusted family. So we need Aziz. And my father, I remember that day, my father turned my face. He says, it's up to my son. He wants to go to the college, university, or he wants to stay there. And then she asked me, hey, what do you think, Aziz? I say, it was hard for me. I was so young. It was hard for me to have to make the decision. And I say, can you give me a 10? She said, of course, yeah. We'll see you in the next meeting. That's where I start asking. And then finally I make the decision. The next meeting, yes, I say, working with you guys. And that's where I moved to work with them. 12 years of my service. And I had 2 jobs. Working for the military in a high rank position, and plus in the meantime, working for Corps of Engineers, which they had all the construction and maintenance. I was a South Regional Manager for the south of Afghanistan to see, control all the operation and maintenance for the Afghan police in National Army bases, the buildings that they already built it for. So it was hard, trust me, to came to the United States, to left everything. 5 houses. I have 5 houses. Left everything, left the money, left my dad and my family, my stepmom, and everybody, my friends. But in the beginning, it was hard, sir. It was especially hard for my wife. When we came to the United States, after 1 month, she was so bad sick that she went to emergency, and she was in emergency for a week because it was a too big change for her to came from one part of the world to another part of the world. It was a culture shocking. It was too many things. Okay. But look at now my wife. I hope one day, like I say, Devonport, we know Devonport because I was living in East Moline. We were driving from East Moline to Devonport Walmart and buying all the grocery for a week and come back, I hope one day I'm planning to one day to come back to Devonport and to meet the good people that I already met and meet them in some other more people that I never met them, like one of you guys, Joe and all the others. Yes. Look at my wife right now. When I look at her or my family, I got, like there's people are crying 2 times, one is a sad crying, one is a happy crying. Sometimes, trust me, I cry to myself because when I see my children, they're going to schools, they're getting education. My children, the 3 children, the 3 children, if you look at their English, you would say they're born here. So the other day, it's a funny, So the other day I was talking in English with my family. My daughter says, Dad, your pronunciation is not a good. You have an accent. And I was proud of that. Because they are well educated in English language, how to speak and how to catch he has an accent or not. 5 years ago, they don't know ABC. They don't know nothing. My wife never been to school in Afghanistan, in anywhere. Now she is speaking English a little bit. She is going to school every day. She is driving. So it was hard in the beginning, and it's really great right now. And we are on our feet. like I say, I have a trucking industry. Like I'm inside in that. I would have a big company in the future. I work hard, but the system, the government, Americans helped me with that, pay me all for my education that I needed, and they will, and I have in the programs that they will continue to do that. But now, let me tell you one more thing before somebody else will have a question. Here in Los Angeles, when I moved from East Moline to Los Angeles, I applied for social benefits because I didn't have a job, nothing. So they gave me a food stamp. They helping me with a cash assistance in medical. So after, it's really surprised me, and it's really I need the system, or the system is good, but the people needs to be fixed. So after I got a job, I went to the county and I explained them. I say, I got a job, so this is my income. I just wanted to report it. So the help that you guys did it, or the county or the government, so that help needs to go to somebody else. So right now I don't need it. My caseworker told me, you don't do that. Just take the advantage of the system. I say, no, I'm not going to do that, because I receive it. Now it's somebody else is waiting for that. Take it and give it to them. It means that I'm always looking, and I'm telling to my children, work hard, be on your feet. Don't depend on the help of government or somebody else, whatever, you know. So come to your question. In the beginning, it was so hard. It's right now is so easy, and I have a beautiful life.
Sharing all that.
Thank you so much. We're going to move on with our programming, and Aziz, if you need to get off and take care of your family situations today, you can do that. If you want to stay on, we are going to have a little bit of time at the end that will also some of the chapter members will stay around and be able to have some more questions and discussions. So thank you so much, Aziz. We really appreciate it so much. If you need to get off, go ahead. I'm going to share a little bit here on some slides. So Aziz did such a great job. He set the table just perfectly for us. So we're really excited. This year in Diocese of Davenport, we started a Catholic Relief Services chapter. And we are the first chapter in Iowa. And now the Diocese of Davenport also has a chapter, and the University of Iowa students have a chapter as well. So we're really excited to be part of this. CRS is wonderful organization. It's an extension of the bishops in the United States that assist the poor and vulnerable overseas. And they are motivated by the gospel of Jesus Christ to cherish, preserve, and uphold the sacredness and dignity of all human life, foster charity and justice, and embody Catholic social teaching and moral teaching as they act to promote human development by responding to major emergencies, fighting disease and poverty, and nurturing peaceful and just societies, as well as serve Catholics in the United States as they live their faith in solidarity with their brothers and sisters around the world. And so we're so excited. Many of the chapter members are on this event today, and we've been working hard on this event. The event today is to focus on migrants and refugees. And like I said, Aziz did such a great job of painting his personal story, and I think that's going to stick with a lot of us for a long time. Our first and foremost goal today with our event is to tell you guys about migrants and refugees. And again, Aziz and some of the other videos we're going to have are going to tell you so many personal stories about that. We do have a giving event page if you would feel so moved. CRS is a wonderful not-for-profit. They're very efficient with their money. 92% of what's given ends up in their programs. They're very effective. They have 75 years of experience, and they're accountable. So that's kind of the way that they talk about that. CRS currently is serving 140 million people. 140 million people in more than 100 countries with 2,130 valued partners. So If you want more information, you can go out to CRS's website and look at their financial reports and their accountability. Many agencies that evaluate not-for-profits have evaluated CRS, and one of them I was looking at this week, several of them give them very high ratings, A+ ratings. So if you feel so moved, we do have the giving event open all this month. So if you get in there and would feel that you want to donate, the link is at the top here, the tiny URL. We're also going to explore a little bit today, basically what it would mean like to journey along with migrants and refugees, and to do that in the backdrop of what the Holy Family experience. So we find ourselves in the season of Advent, the season of waiting for Christ to come, but also getting closer to Christmas. And so in Luke chapter 2, we hear, in those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that the whole world should be enrolled. This was the first enrollment when Quirinius was governor of Syria. So all went to be enrolled, each to his own town. And Joseph too went from Galilee, from the town of Nazareth to Judea, to the city of David that is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and family of David, to be enrolled with Mary, his betrothed, who was with child. While they were there, the time came for her to have her child, and she gave birth to her firstborn son. She wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. And so we're going to journey along with the Holy Family for the rest of our event today. CRS has two different major initiatives going on right now, both called Lead the Way on Hunger, Lead the Way on Migration. So I'm going to show a video here, and then we're going to talk about that shortly.
I was 3 years old when we had to flee.
But we're not seeing the video.
Mom was telling me that she had to put cloth over my sibling's face so that...
The video not showing?
I was 3 years old when we had to flee.
Mom was telling me that she had to put cloth over my sibling's face so that we wouldn't inhale the fumes.
As a little boy, being on my mom's back and looking back and seeing those people suffering is one memory that I have carried with me.
You had to like make a decision, like stay in the country or kind of like leave.
The only thing we took with us was the shirt, the clothes on our backs. And we weren't able to take anything with us, so we actually lost a lot of information, including my birthday.
The resources were limited. I was very malnourished at the time, and my mom told me that the doctor said that I wasn't going to make it.
As millions of families around the world face peril to escape political and religious persecution, war, and starvation, people of faith can make a difference. This very minute, families around the world are depending on you. Act boldly. Join us to pave the path to peace for refugees and migrants. Start making a difference today. Go to crs.org/leadtheway to lift your voice and create a better world. Lead the way. Believing is serving.
So if you've never been to the migration data portal, very interesting site. It does get updated. This is one of the maps they show in there. This is from mid-year 2020. So this data, once it's updated, will maybe look a little bit different, but you can see the different places in the world that are basically receiving migrants, international migrants. This table here shows a little bit about the global trends. So there's 7.8 billion people worldwide, and mid-year 2020, 280.6 million migrants. So roughly 3.6% of the world's population was considered migrants. Pretty stark numbers there. This idea of forcible displacement, Aziz's story is perfect. The stories that we heard in the CRS video, but in the same way, the Holy Family having to leave Bethlehem, right? So in Matthew 2, we hear about the flight to Egypt. And when they had departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream and said, "Rise, take the child and his mother, flee to Egypt and stay there until I tell you. Herod is going to search for the child to destroy him." Joseph rose and took the child and his mother by night and departed for Egypt. He stayed there until the death of Herod, that what the Lord had said through the prophet might be fulfilled. Out of Egypt I called my son. And then we hear right on the backdrop of that, right? There's this terrible event. Herod realized Matthew's gospel continued. When Herod realized that he had been deceived by the Magi, he became furious. He ordered the massacre of all the boys in Bethlehem and its vicinity 2 years old and under, in accordance with the time he had ascertained from the Magi. And like Aziz's story, like the stories that we heard of the different people in the Lead the Way migration video from CRS, people still are being forced from their homes. In today, the 5 largest refugee camps in Northwest Kenya, starting in 1992, currently has 150,000 refugees. Many are from South Sudan, Somalia. They are fled war, drought, famines, and that refugee camp is still in place today. Another one in Kenya started in 1991, 200,000 in 3 different areas of the camp. They were fleeing from drought and famine. In Jordan in 2012, the refugee camp that started there still today has 76,000 who are mostly Syrian refugees, also fleeing war. In Bangladesh, 2017 started a refugee camp there. 800,000 people are there. Most of these are from Myanmar, fleeing armed attacks. And then in 2020, a refugee camp started in Sudan with 60,000, mostly Ethiopians, fleeing the crisis that happened in Ethiopia. So I'd like to do a short breakout session here. And we have, I think we're going to do 3 different groups based on our numbers. That way everybody will get a little bit of time to talk. And so I'd like you to state your name and parish or where you're from, if people don't know, and then talk about 2 different questions here. What has been your experience with migrants and refugees, and what will you take with you after this event? How might you help migrants and refugees? I'll post those in the chat box so that you guys have access to them. And David, if you would put us into groups or open up those rooms, that would be great. Mary, did you join one of the breakout rooms? You're on mute. Good. I'm staying here, David. You can go ahead and join room 3. Looks like it needs another person. I'm going to stay here though, just in case anybody comes back. Or is that good? Okay. I'm going to share another video with everyone.
أنا بستمتع أكتر الشاي وقت اللي بخبز شاي بحس حالي عم بنتج شيء مفيد لإلي ولأولادي. خلص كنا أنا وزوجي كنت أخبز أشياء ونبيعها بالمحل بالبقالية نفسها. شعوري وقت اللي تركنا بلدنا وجينا على بلد تاني مثل كأنك شايل شجرة من شروشها كلها وحطيتها بمكان تاني، يا أما بتعيش يا أما بتموت.
Here in Bulgaria we have an influx of refugees and asylum seekers because we are the door to Western Europe. When the people are coming to Bulgaria, they do not know anything about the culture, about the procedure for accessing services, social, education, health. So they really do need assistance in order to get to those services and assistance also to adapt and integrate in the society. So Caritas Sofia work and financial support, Bulgarian language classes, and of course interaction with Bulgarians.
قعدونا ببيت أنا وولادي بيقدموا لنا كورسات لغة للأطفال لإلنا.
The basics of integration are that people are independent.
وقت بكون عندي شغل بتقاسم الشغل أنا وياه، يعني هو عنده مهارات بشيء وأنا عندي مهارات بشيء، فكل مين بيشتغل باللي بيقدر فيه عشان نقدر نتقاسم الوقت منيح.
Most of these women and girls are fleeing conflict and are in a situation where they're seeking asylum and safety and protection in these countries like Bulgaria or Serbia or Greece, by providing them access and getting them into a situation where they feel safe and protected and they have a road to integrate into a future. They're less likely to make these dangerous decisions to put themselves and their children at risk.
عندي أمل إني أعمل هذا الخبيز تبعي والشغل كله كمشروع أكبر من هيك، مشروع أطفالي هذا لأنه ما بس لإلي ولعائلتي كلياتها، أتمنى إنه يكبر.
Within the refugee society there are engineers, lawyers, dentists, I mean really high educated people. And if they are employed, they will pay taxes, they will adapt to the Bulgarian society, and I mean it's a benefit for the whole society.
Solidarity can change the world when given the opportunity, and the Safer Project is an opportunity for us to be able to show that in the work that we do every day. Solidarity with the people we work with, solidarity with these host countries, solidarity with so many of the compassionate people of these countries in which we're working.
فهذا من البداية الحياة تبعتنا، نطالع الآجار، صوت المدرسة، بدنا فرصة أول شيء نقدر نقف على رجلينا حتى نكون فعالين بهذا المجتمع اللي احنا عايشين فيه حاليا.
So once again, we get this great imagery from this video of being uprooted and having to make roots in a new place. I think, again, Aziz in his story told us a lot about this as well and was so impactful. Let's look at the Holy Family here a little bit. So St. Joseph in Nazareth would have been what's called a tecton. He was a very skilled worker, working in wood and stone and other materials. He had contacts, he had relationships, he had many things to help him. When he left for Bethlehem, he didn't take any of that with him. He didn't have the relationships when he went to Egypt. It's not like he brought his tools in his workshop with him to Egypt. So he would have had to have worked as a day laborer, working however, wherever he could find work. Didn't have those connections. He was in a different culture, different language. And we heard so many stories already today. It's the same. It's 2,000 years later, and it's the same story for migrants and refugees today. Many are very educated, had trades in their native country, but they left everything behind. They have no relationships, no connection, don't have that national identity. They have language and cultural barriers to overcome.
I'm Deacon Bob Glazer of the Diocese of Davenport. I am also the youngest son of immigrant parents. Both of my parents immigrated from Eastern Europe as children with their families in the early 20th century. My dad, Franciscus, or Frank, was about 12 years old, and my mother, Elizabeth, was a year old. Dad would go on to serve in the United States Army during World War I, even before he was a citizen. He would become an expert machinist and work into his 80s. Mom and Dad married in 1927 and moved to the Chicago area. They would have 6 children, the oldest of which they raised during the Depression and World War II years. Mary, the oldest, would become Sister Mary Assumpta. She served Catholic schools everywhere from inner city Chicago, throughout the state of Iowa, and as far as the California coast. At 93, she still tutors. Joe, at 90, was a successful businessman, and with his wife raised 4 children. He served in the United States Army, as did I. Teresa would become Sister Mary Teresine. She taught grade school, became a college professor, a social worker, and now at 87 dedicates herself to the study of St. Francis of Assisi. Helen Marie came next in 1938. Unfortunately, at 5 weeks, she succumbed to whooping cough. Marge married, raised 5 children, became an accomplished woodworker, and at 80 enjoys the flea market circuit. Then there's me, a retired prosecuting attorney and deacon. My wife Luann and I raised 2 children. In the following generation, there is a physician, an attorney who is now a federal administrative law judge, several computer engineers, a physicist with a PhD who works in international business, a college professor, a former Army officer who is one of the first female graduates of West Point, a forensic scientist, an art director and editor, an architect, and a marketing expert who unfortunately passed away very young. I give you this family history because of my belief that immigrants and refugees add so much to the fabric of our society. And remember, Jesus said, I was a stranger.
Thank you, Deacon Bob, for sharing that. That was wonderful. We had another breakout session planned. We're running a little behind. So I am going to ask you guys to take with you, though, this question is, in what ways will you welcome the stranger into your parish, community, and life? And so with a little bit of our early programming going a little long, which was great, I think we benefited greatly from that. We're going to skip this breakout session. I am going to show you one more slide. And so some people think, well, I can't give very much, and or maybe you can give a lot. And so again, the first point of our event today was to raise awareness about migrants and refugees and what really happens in their lives. And I think we've had so many great accounts of that today, and so grateful for all those that shared. But you can see there's so many things that CRS can do with a big gift to a little gift. $20 can give school uniforms or bags of fertilizer. $40 a flock of chickens. $70 can be provide emergency supplies and hygiene kits. $150 a sewing machine. $300 a cow. And so you can see there's so many different things for gifts of all sizes. There's no gift that's too small, no gift that's too big, obviously. And so I would encourage everybody, if they can, to make it out to our giving page if you feel inclined to give. At this point, our program is finished for today. I appreciate all of you coming, and I will let anybody who is planning on leaving, I'm going to end the recording.